Hello, welcome beautiful vibrant souls to today's reading. We're going to be doing a collective full moon reading, which I don't always do collective readings, but I felt called to this particular time, so I'm very, very excited about it. But yeah, hello, welcome by the way. I'm Sinessa. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. If you are new here, welcome back to all of my old familiar friends. So we're going to be doing a collective reading all about this upcoming full moon, which will be on the, hang on, I can do it. It's the 29th of, what is this month? September. The 29th of September, 2023. And this will be taking place in the sign of, tropically, it will be in the sign of Aries. That would be Vedic Pisces. So there's a lot I want to say about this. I'm trying to kind of organize all my thoughts in my mind, make it as concise as possible. I'm going to kind of do some, like a little bit of a broad strokes overview of what this full moon is about in general, and then kind of share what I was picking up on for channeled information before I dive in. Usually I like to do pick a cards for the, full and new moon readings that I do, but this one I felt called to do collective. So there is a kind of, I feel like, sweeping general energy, sorry if you can hear my bones crack, in the collective that I read for in particular. And it's very potent. It feels very significant. We will get to that. We will talk about it. But I did just kind of want to cover that. As like to why I'm making that decision, why I felt like that was a good choice. I have to say I'm having trouble a little bit finding my words. So there might be an energy in this collective right now of really struggling to kind of figure out how you feel about something, struggling to articulate it. These might all be themes that come out in the reading or themes that come up for you over the next lunar month. So before I get into all that good stuff, full moon in Aries. Full moons are always about culmination, right? They're completion of a cycle. They're about manifestation. They're also about release. And because it's the most illuminated of all the moon phases, the moon does represent our emotions, our inner world, but also our subconscious. This is the time when we tend to get the greatest insight into our blind spots in any particular given area. Now, keep in mind, this will be different for everybody depending on where Aries is in your chart. So for example, if you had Aries in the 7th house, this could be where these themes are coming together when it comes to partnerships. That's just one brief example. Or if you have major significant Aries placements, this full moon energy might be impacting that. So for example, if you have Mercury in Aries, you could be getting insights into a thought process that may or may not be serving you anymore, or into, what to say, in a situation for the best outcome, the best results, right? Things like that. Those are just really, really quick examples, broad overview, kind of examples. Excuse me. But in general, full moon in Aries is really a time where things either come to our awareness or come full circle. We have manifestations when it comes to our sense of self, right? Aries is ruled by Mars. This is our masculine energy, but excuse me, also traditionally rules the first house. So this is the house of the self, right? This could also be having to do with your physical body to a certain extent. But it is the house of the self. It's your outlook as well. Excuse me, your perception. And there's a lot I want to say about it. But you might find that with this full moon, things are coming full circle when it comes to a journey that you've been on to get to a greater level of self-awareness, a journey you've been been on toward a personal goal, because Aries is also that warrior energy. One of the things I will say is that Aries, in its more of its shadow energy, it's a trailblazer. It gets things moving, it gets things kind of off and running, but it tends to lack longevity or run out of steam. So for some, the full moon in Aries can really highlight where greater energy and focus needs to be placed in order to achieve a goal. Especially a personal goal. And because the Aries Libra axis in astrology kind of talks about negotiating the relationship to self, like a healthy relationship to self versus a healthy relationship to others, any kind of imbalances in those areas might be highlighted by the full moon in Aries. So again, broad strokes overview. So any of these themes might be kind of coming out for you over the next lunar month. Now, for channeled information, what I am getting is that for many of you in the collective, there is going to be this kind of final push of a release of the old version of self. Excuse me, I'm sorry. For some of you, this is going to center around a conversation. I think this is always a really significant full moon for me, or like the full moons around this time of year, because the veil is kind of at its thinnest, or it is getting to the point where it is at its thinnest. And so it's, doing any divination, seeking further insight or guidance into self, into your journey is going to yield the most potent results that it will all year round. So when full moons come up during this time of year, this can be an especially significant time for enlightenment, particularly if the full moons are in signs that you have significant placements in. So I do kind of just want to like put that out there, that this is a time where, you might really be getting a lot of insight into something. I will say, because like I said, Aries is a warrior energy. Sometimes the full moon in Aries can bring about conflict, can bring about change. And this change is meant to kind of serve as the jumping off point or fueling us toward taking significant movement in a new direction, right? Mars energy is always very action oriented. And I am feeling that here. I feel for many of you, there is the word catastrophic is coming up, but hang on, don't be scared. Quite a revelation that's coming through. And I think the reason why catastrophic is coming up is because, again, making me think of the Tower, which is more Mars energy. A big shift you've been preparing to make a big shift, and this feels like either you're getting a significant epiphany that kind of puts all the pieces together, right? Any last little standing bits of illusion come toppling down, or you're having a conversation and it feels like this is the final piece for a lot of you. You've been on a journey to understanding this situation, why it happened, understanding yourself through different facets of this journey that you've been on. And it's kind of like you have cultivated a new identity. And I feel many of you, this has been gradual, this has been over time. And it's kind of like what's taking place and unfolding for you over this next lunar month is going to be the last piece of understanding, the last conversation, the last epiphany that kind of helps solidify your new identity. Some of you are really just like going to have this almost tower-like moment where you really see how far you've come. Excuse me. Oh, I'm so sorry. And you're unable to turn back. Something that came out when I was shuffling the tarot deck as I was preparing for this reading is that for a lot of you, there's going to be a shift in dynamic, a shift in, hang on, I'm hearing the dynamic of an investment. There may have been something where you were trying to go a particular way, a particular path, and it wasn't working out, so you diverted your energy and attention somewhere else for the time being. And this the secondary path ends up being your path ahead. There's something, because when I was initially shuffling, I cut the deck and the Ace of Pentacles and Strength were there reversed. I think it's interesting because the Ace of Pentacles is now upright on the bottom. But then I cut the deck later and it was the Ace of Pentacles reversed and the Page of Pentacles. So again, this feels like you're going in a new direction entirely. For some of you, there's a conversation, there's a piece of information that's coming in, and it's going to reveal to you where maybe you were kind of holding out for a different path to become available and getting, or become freed up. And it's like, whoa, I don't want that. No, thank you. Get on out of here. There's something where you're not standing for it anymore. You're like, get it out now. Like, you're not tolerating anything else. You're not putting up with anything else. And I feel that very, very strongly. There's a recognition of, it's not about whether this option is available to you now. It's about the fact that it's like seeing like it was never going to be what you deserved. It was never going to be a good fit for you. So with that, I want to pull an archetype card I want to pull kind of what you're leaving behind and what you're moving into. Okay, that one's leaving behind. And this one's moving into. At the bottom, we have Shapeshifter. Yeah, whenever in this deck, whenever the cards come out reversed, I take that to be looking at more of the shadow attribute. And And if it's upright, I read the light attributes. So it's projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in this moment. Some of you may have been dealing with a Pisces or somebody who's got a lot of placements in their 12th house. That gives me very much that shapeshifter energy. I feel like whatever this was, there were a lot of illusions and moving pieces to this. And that may be why it's been very hard for you to extricate yourself from this situation, because it's like, I never really know what I'm looking at. I never really know, excuse me, what the truth of this situation is. And there's kind of this energy of, is it going to come back around? Is it going to become available? You know, will we ever come back together? Something like that. And I think this illusion is what's being broken almost. So let's see what comes through. Okay, we have child orphan. It's coming out reversed. So it's feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. Okay, this is what you're leaving behind. I'm really drawn to seeking inappropriate surrogate families. I feel like there are people that you have been bonded to. These could be like trauma bonds type of a situation. Excuse me. Because you've been kind of functionally on your own for a long time in a way that matters. And I feel for many of you, this has caused you to accept situations and circumstances and people that don't honor you. And especially with that kind of, you know, Aries always follows Pisces. And it's this interesting kind of juxtaposition where it's, you know, the end of the zodiac, the beginning, the ending of a cycle, the beginning of a new cycle. But Pisces is a sign of a lot of illusion, and Aries can kind of almost be a little too straightforward, too blunt sometimes. But the kind of story that's being told is we go through the illusion that Pisces in the 12th house brings, and this illusion helps us kind of learn a lot more about ourselves, so we can sort of shed old layers and emerge into this much more confident version of self. And that's where we get to that Aries energy. Excuse me. I feel that this journey that you've been on has been one about understanding these deeply held beliefs, these deeply held parts of self, these shadow parts of self, that have caused you to accept far less than your worth, that have caused you to hold on to people that don't actually value you, because that may have been kind of the sense of, you know, again, I'm really drawn into seeking inappropriate surrogate families. It's like, this is where I have a sense of community, of safety, of stability, of familiarity, because there was a sense of being alone, being abandoned, and struggling to, I'm really drawn into, sorry, on light attributes, says conquering fear. I feel like there was a fear of independence, which might surprise some of you, because in some ways I feel like you're very independent, but not truly, like I'm getting this energy of like people who are codependent in the way that they do things for other people all the time, because they struggle to kind of know themselves or struggle to prioritize their own goals. I feel like there's a sense where you may have kind of just, it's like you've been waiting for this person or the situation to come back around, and having to kind of wait for it has caused you to really, I feel like, invest more in yourself and invest more in your own goals, your own life, and building a sense of stability for yourself. So there's a sense here of struggling with this, you know, aloneness, this wound, this abandonment. This is what I feel you're leaving behind, are these feelings of feeling orphaned, or that kind of energy that from which has caused you to hold on to people and situations that don't truly honor you, because it provided a sense of direction, a sense of stability. You've been doing a lot of deep work in this, and that's why I feel like the situation's now coming to a head, because now whatever you choose, you're choosing from an empowered place, and I'm getting that very heavily. Taking a sip of my tea. Oh, that's very good tea. But I want to see what you're moving into. Warrior. No shit. Hello, Aries. And it's upright. I love this. So the light attributes are strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of work. A lot of work. Some of you, you're moving into this very, very empowered energy. Somebody who's very, very confident in themselves. Excuse me. somebody who knows that they have strength, skill, discipline, somebody who knows what they can weather, the storms that they can weather, and thus they are very confident with what they take on. They're also very confident in their knowledge, in their wisdom. I think this is what you've been working on. So you're moving into this warrior energy instead, where you're really able to tackle what comes in, or like what comes at you, and like be able to hold your own. I also feel like too, again, there's something where whatever is going to come through for you, again, whether it's an epiphany, we'll pull cards about it in a little bit, or a conversation, you're ready for this now because you now have the skills to know what to do with this. And once again, coming from a very empowered place, from a very, like a much more healed place than you've been in the past. This is also for me somebody who's not afraid to do their own thing. Somebody who's not afraid to set boundaries. Somebody who's not afraid to go to bat for what's important to them, including themselves. So I want to pull an oracle card and get some more details about what this full moon is bringing forth. So you guys are shedding quite a lot. I want to look at this card, but I want to take it. Yeah, goddess with transcendence. Yes. There is a sense here of, like I said, you are transcending, you are ascending to a new level and leaving behind, yep, cord with initiation at the bottom, leaving behind this more wounded version of self, this more codependent version of self, if I'm being honest. And that's no shame, no shade. We all have our stuff to work through. But you've been doing the work and it's paying off. Yep. That with consciousness. Card 2, we have that big old full moon here. Wow, okay, we have unification, the 6 rayed star, 21, reducing to a 3. Mirror, 11, with perception, we have a master number here, reducing to a 2. And Black Cat, a 22, another master number, with psychism. Okay. So first of all, I want to talk about this. A lot of you are going to be experiencing a significant jump in your psychic abilities. We're also just talking about this with the full moon being at this period of time where the veil is thinning, coming to its thinnest point, as it will the whole year. There's a sense here where it's going to be really important for you to trust your, kind of like we were talking about with Warrior, trust your discernment, trust your wisdom, trust what you know, trust your intuition. That's a huge thing here. And trust how far you've come with the rebirth in consciousness. I do feel like with these two, unification and mirror, somebody who was a mirrored soul to you, we have the Phoenix here, who helped you transform, somebody whom you helped transform equally. There might be synastry between your sun and moon. I'm seeing that. If you can hear my stomach rumble. This is going to be somebody who, I have to sneeze. Hang on. Excuse me. This is somebody who's thinking about you right now, I feel. Sometimes that happens with the sneeze. This is somebody who you guys did equal work together. You guys mirrored back a lot of really, really important things to each other to help one another transform. This person's coming back around. And it will be different for everybody. For some, this is kind of their energy revisiting you. This could have been where one of you was a water sign, one of you was a fire sign, or you had significant water-fire placements. But there's going to be, this person's going to be reaching back out, and I feel like this is in order to bring something to a close. It's very hard to see, but there's a little glowing like orb here, and it's actually a globe. So, and we also have 21, both of which make me think of the World card in the tarot. This is to wrap up a big cycle with this person. I want to know what this person's, like, how they're going to be kind of re-emerging into your world. Like I said, for some of you, you're going to have kind of this final epiphany that helps you let them go. For some of you, this is going to be a conversation. For some of you, you are getting an apology from this person. Ace of Swords, exactly. Communication or epiphany. And it's going to help cut through, look at this image, how there's the big knot. It's going to help cut through a lot of confusion. It's going to make things make a lot of sense. Some of you might be getting a piece of information about this person. Some of you might find that you're having premonitions, you're having psychic dreams about them or about what they're going to tell you before they come to see you. Trust that. Excuse me. The Lovers. This is very likely somebody you're in a relationship with. This could be somebody you consider a counterpart. Gemini energy showing up. The Three of Swords. This is somebody who I feel like hurt you a lot. Kind of like clipped your wings almost. Somebody who with the lightning could have been kind of unstable, or somebody who kind of was all over the place, could lash out sometimes and then kind of not be aware of the impact of what they had to say. This is somebody who hurt you a lot, but who you kind of like suffered in silence. You didn't fully let it on. You still had gentleness with this person, right? With the Lovers imagery here, you were gentle with them. And I feel like you tried to be graceful with them and kind and considerate. Death. There's Scorpio showing up now. And the King of Cups reverse. I almost said Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So maybe some of you are fire energies here. Excuse me. But Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces is what's showing up. Okay. So there was likely an ending with this person. I'm also getting no change of heart. Somebody has had a change of heart here. I want to know kind of the form this taking. Again, the Ace of Swords. This is either a revelation or this is, a conversation. What is this? Page of Coins. There could be a new offer, a small offer. The High Priestess reverse. Again, something you intuitively know was coming. And Judgment reverse. Okay. A lot of you knew this person was going to come back. Or you knew this story isn't finished yet. Nine of Cups. It's really interesting because in this particular version of the deck, this woman's only into other ladies. This guy wants to get with her, so he disguises himself as a lady, tricks her into falling in love with him. So even though this is a card usually about wish fulfillment, there's always a little bit of that Seven of Swords energy in this one for me. This is somebody with whom I feel like you had a lot of happiness, a lot of high hopes, but you felt kind of deceived by this person. And I feel like this is where it is, because there's a Lovers on one end, and then there's the King of Cups in reverse on the other end. The reason why you felt kind of cheated is that this person is very capable of great emotional depth. This person might have a depth of emotion for you, but this person has a lot of emotional instability within themselves. They can't offer you the stability you're looking for because they don't have it. For a lot of you, just look at the images here. You made this person confront their shadow, and I feel like they took it out on you. We do have kind of this energy of love here, but I will say this does not have to be a romantic partner. This is somebody that you are very close with, though. Somebody that you would consider a major player in your life story. Excuse my burp. And like I said, I feel like with, the what of it all being the Page of Pentacles to start, there's going to be an offer here. There's going to be a small, possibly like a gift, a token of appreciation. Some type of small tangible action to try to show you that they're sorry. What are they trying to show you? Or what is Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups? Okay, this person's going to try to give you a little something. What are these two cards? The Chariot reversed and the Devil. Yes. Yep. Cancer and Capricorn showing up. This person, so what this person is going to be giving you, this person might be apologizing. I feel like this person is going to give you an explanation. And what this explanation is going to be about is a little bit of an insight into their behavior, into why they treated you like this, why they kind of left you in the lurch, why they left you hanging, why they, I don't know, I was going to say treated you like dirt. That's kind of the phrase coming through. I don't usually say that. But why they were so kind of confusing or hot and cold, why they struggled so much. This person's coming in, and granted, it's just the Page of Pentacles, so this is something relatively small. But this is them trying to establish something. Sorry, I'm itchy. Them trying to establish something a little bit more stable, a little more grounded. This is them trying to clean up the situation bit by bit. And what they're going to be explaining to you is a little bit of why they do what they do. A lot of this for them is based in a very toxic family system. A lot, I feel like, very deep childhood wounding here. This person could have started something with you and then had some issues going on with their family, and just not really been present with you, or actively been combative with you. And there's definitely a lack of awareness at the time from them about, I'm thinking about this with the Three of Swords, about what their actions really cost you, like how much of a negative impact it actually had. They've had some time to think since you've been apart. And they've kind of been looking at themselves more honestly, looking at their shadow more honestly, and realizing, starting to put together the pieces of why they act the way they do. And this is what they're going to try to offer you, is some type of explanation. Now, for some of you, this is like romantic. They're going to want to get back together. Some of you, if you have a child with this person, they want to try to improve the relationship between the two of you because they don't want what happened in their childhood to happen for your child, for the child you share. This person has a lot of growing to do, but I feel that they've surrendered to the fact that they do need to grow. And with the High Priestess reversed and Judgment reversed, there's a sense here where you knew this was coming, you knew this wasn't over. But I feel hesitation and doubt. It's like, that it's not done yet, but you also know that they're not who you need them to be. And I feel like this is saying, trust your gut. This and that can be true. It can be two things. I want to know kind of a little bit more about what they're going to... for some of you, you might be getting information, like I said, about this person. So maybe, maybe they've been short with you, or just straight up disconnected from you. They may have lost a family member and you might not have known that. I want to know what's been happening with them in the time you've been apart. The Three of Pentacles reversed. Some of them have lost a job. Some of them have lost, the Three of Pentacles, the baby card for me. So it could have been struggling with, conceiving or have lost a child. But this is a loss of a feeling of teamwork and collaboration. This also may have been when you withdrew your energy from their life. Excuse my burp. They really felt that. The Tower, yeah, they're going through something. Excuse me. And we have the Lightning here and we have the Lightning here. They may have been going through this for a long time, and whatever it is finally came toppling down. The Knight of Swords reversed. This has humbled them. And the Star reversed, and they're hurting, right? The Star always follows the Tower, and it's the healing, but it's reversed. This has humbled them. The Knight of Swords, I think, is tricky because the Knight of Swords is one of those people that always thinks they're right. We have more energy here, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but especially Aquarius energy. So we've had heavy Gemini, heavy Aquarius, heavy Scorpio, and some Pisces thrown in there. But this is somebody who always thinks they're right. They go charging ahead. They're not really thinking about how their words and actions impact other people. And this got them into trouble with the Tower. And I feel like they finally have been forced to take a pause. And it's caused them to acknowledge a lot of healing that they need to do within themselves. Yeah, Five of Cups, they have a lot of grief and a lot of loss. Yeah, the arm is coming up out of the water to pull her down. We have the full moon here. There's something where this person has been forced to stop running from their own past, their own issues. They're being forced to get real about it. And this may have been something that's happened in the time you've been separated, is that they've had to confront their own shadow. And I think the relationship they share with you, or they shared with you, is a huge part of why they are dealing with their stuff now. Yeah, I got the deck again, Five of Cups and Three of Pentacles reversed. I think this person doesn't know how to have healthy partnership. This person might be very you know, everyone for themselves, everyone's got to fend for themselves, kind of energy here. Knowing you triggered up a lot in them about having to deal with their own stuff. Especially when it came to blockages around being able to work well with others, being able to let other people help support them, being able to truly like work with others and like let other people help them. Yeah, because again, I cut the deck and there's that 5 of Cups and then the Wheel of Fortune reversed. They've experienced a lot of hardship, a lot of loss, a lot of emotional loss. And something about knowing you made them confront that. The Fool reversed, I think that's why they backed out of something more. Because there's a recognition that they weren't ready for it. I want to see what your guides want you to know. Again, there's a huge emphasis here to trust your intuition with this person, because I do feel like an apology is sincere. I feel like a desire to possibly start to rebuild something is sincere, but the question is how much they can really truly offer. We have Justice in reverse. Ooh, okay, the deck just fell. What is this card? The 10 of Pentacles. Okay, some of them may have been thinking a lot about marriage and family long term. Yeah, we do have Justice reversed. So there's a question of, I feel like this person does want that, but it's a question of whether or not they can show up fairly, whether or not they can show up like as that 10 of Pentacles type person. 6 of Cups, there is quite a fondness here. You may have known this person since childhood. There's somebody who wants to be able to have you in their life long term, but the question is with Justice reversed about in what capacity, right? In what terms? Is it all going to be on their terms, or can they compromise with you? Can they work with you? 7 of Wands reversed. Okay. 4 of Cups. And the Queen of Swords. This feels like, in terms of what your guides want you to know about this, this feels like to just sit and listen. Queen of Swords, very smart, very wise, very shrewd, very discerning. She knows what to do. You know what to do, and this is what your guides are telling you. Especially with that psychism and the rebirth in consciousness. You've experienced a rebirth in consciousness yourself. Excuse me. And you've gone from somebody who may have put up with less than what they deserve and desire, because that's what you felt like you were going to get, and like, you know, take what you can, into somebody who's willing to fight for what they want, including themselves, right? Fight for themselves, fight for creating the life they want, somebody who's boundaried. So you are in your Queen of Swords energy, regardless of zodiac sign or gender identity or expression. And it's hard to see, but she's got the heads on a, you know, on a stick behind her, and they're all around in the background. I've never noticed that before. You're somebody who has not been afraid to defend yourself. You've learned to do that. So with this is telling me to be open to listening, right? Because we have the 4 of Cups and the 7 of Wands reversed. 7 of Wands reversed would suggest to not be defensive, right? But the 4 of Cups is also like being kind of like, you know, emotionally sitting on the sidelines. You're a little apathetic. This feels like to listen, but to not judge in either direction. And also there's kind of an energy here to walk this fine line of letting go of the past, letting go of like the old energy, being able to accept, you know, this person's explanation or apology. Because we saw with the Ace of Swords, there was the knot. The whole point of this is to cut you free. I think a lot of you guys have been going around in circles about this for a while. So there's this fine line here of being able to accept and allow this person's apology, this person's recognition of their own issues, their own, you know, part in the destruction of the relationship between the two of you, while also not running right back to them, right? While also letting things kind of just sit with the 4 of Cups, being like, okay, thank you for sharing that. Just because this person gets it now, it still doesn't mean that they're at the level of what your standards are now or what they need to be. And that's kind of, I feel like, what's playing out here. I want to see what this person's capable really of offering. Again, please use your intuition about this. But there might be a sense where they might misestimate their own abilities to show up in a certain way. I feel like they've been working on that. Temperance reverse, they're still not as balanced as they would like to be, as you probably need them to be. This person might struggle with moderation, so they might kind of have an addictive personality and all or nothing thinking, something like that. They could literally struggle with some type of addiction like alcohol or substance use or gambling, something like that. They're still kind of working through those things. The Hermit reversed. Okay, so I do feel like, something we're asking, like where this person, what they can show up with. I do feel like they want to communicate more. They want to reach out more. They want to clue you into what's going on in their life more and let you know more. I think they value your presence in their life a lot more now, especially ever since things have been strained or you've been out of their life. We have Virgo energy showing up. The Four of Wands reversed, yes. And the Ten of Wands, exactly. What this person's willing to offer, I think there's a recognition here. They want to be able to show up more. They don't want to be maybe as reclusive or withdrawn or just not sharing with you. But there's a recognition that they really need to work on themselves first with the Four of Wands. For some of you, this person needs to get themselves out of a marriage or out of a living situation first. It's like, I can't do anything until, especially this image on the Ten of Wands. I can't do anything until that changes. But just in terms of the energy, this person, I feel like, would like to establish more of a relationship, but there's also a recognition that they're still really working on themselves and that that's taking up the majority of their energy, and they're really not sure how much they'd be able to give past that. But I do feel like this person's trying to be honest with you about what they can actually deliver. I'm almost feeling this person sees the value in your wisdom now. This person might be trying to find a sideways way of almost like trying to get you to help them in their transformation. It's like now that they're actually ready to do a lot of the work, they may be able to, they may have thought back a lot of the times to some of the things you used to say to them, been like, oh shoot, they were right. Like, oh, I wish I could ask them about this now. This person might be kind of almost seeking you out, and I don't think this is conscious, seeking you out to help them through this process. I think this person, when it comes to emotional development and growth, this person might at this point in their journey need quite a lot of hand-holding. But there's a desire to do the work now. And again, I think the whole entire purpose of this, conversation, this understanding, this epiphany, for some of you, there's just an epiphany about where this person is coming from, and there's a huge epiphany about, okay, there may have been love here, there may have been potential here, but this person could not, truly build anything solid with me. There's an understanding with rebirth and consciousness that you have changed. You have really grown into this very self-assured version of yourself, somebody who knows what they want, or at the very least knows what they will not tolerate, and somebody who is incredibly boundaried and self-protective and strong. And there's, for some of you, this recognition is just this clarity coming through of, this situation I used to really want, I used to really pine after, that's not going to work anymore. That doesn't fit me anymore. That doesn't suit me anymore. For some of you, you've been on a journey to choose yourself, to choose what is good for you. And as a result, you've had a long history recently, like a long journey of having to choose between things that you may have been emotionally drawn to, but the things that you know are good for you. And because you've consistently chosen yourself and you've been cultivating a life of far more peace because of it, you set good boundaries with yourself and others. There's a sense here where it's not going to feel like such a burden to make the healthy choices that you have been working through, that you've been doing the work to make. There's a sense here, again, with all the impaled heads, it's kind of like, I've come so far, I've done so much to get to this point, I'm not turning back now. And there's a sense here of being able to make peace so that it doesn't feel so hard to do what you know is right for you anymore. You're unified with all aspects of self. And this is because you've been able to, for some of you may have overly identified with this almost King of Cups energy, where it's like, being a lover, a nurturer, somebody who's empathic, somebody who's giving, somebody who is emotionally effusive, kind, things like that. People who offer emotional support to others. And that's not a bad thing, but you've come into balance now. You took some time off from focusing on this to focus more on, well, what do I want? I got to set really good boundaries. You know, especially again, we go from Pisces to Aries. So there's a sense of boundarylessness and overly identifying with your empathy. And this is kind of balancing that out, saying like, yes, that is important. That will always be a part of me. But I need to be mindful. I need to start, you know, making head over heart decisions. And because you've been working really hard on balancing those aspects of self, a lot of you guys have been kind of doing your own thing. You've been in hermit mode. This is what is, I feel like, bringing about this shift where, again, it's that image we talked about, calling back from the beginning, that you were investing in one thing and you were kind of just like taking a break from it or waiting for it to come back around. And it's kind of like, no, I think I'm going to go this other way, right? Maybe this is kind of like where, you know, something happened that redirected you. And it's like, okay, once this, like, I don't know, let's say if you had financial troubles, you're like, okay, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to stop hanging out in this place, spending money doing this. And then when I get back in a good place financially, then I'll go back to it, right? And it's actually like maybe by having to redirect your finances, you also redirected your energy and attention toward things that were like serving you, something, you know, this is just a quick example. But there's a recognition here, either, you know, because the past comes knocking, or there's just this epiphany of like, whoa, I'm actually not that person at all anymore. I'm not only going this way because I have to, but I'm going this way because I want to, because that's the way toward my goals. That's the way toward the standards that actually value and respect me. That's the way toward success in my own measure, right? By my own standards. And I see that here. So there's like this final stage of this huge rebirth where I feel like it's going to free up a lot of your energy, because it's not going to feel like such a chore to stand by yourself, right? It's not going to feel like such a chore to set good boundaries and to be consistently developing greater and greater, excuse me, self-trust and self-respect. So I just kind of want to pull a final couple cards for what your team wants you to know. Some of you guys are going to have the opportunity to speak your truth again with somebody, where you're going to be able to finally express to them how their actions made you feel. You're going to be able to set the boundaries that you didn't have a chance to set before. Knight of Swords reversed. I feel like this is kind of like, all right, things are changing. Hang on. The Star reversed. The Two of Swords, yeah. And the Ace of Cups reversed. This feels like, you know, you've been in this stalemate where you've been really pursuing healing, but it hasn't really felt like it's stuck. It felt like it's been hard to truly move forward. And this is what's getting cleared up for you this full moon, is I feel like your emotional energy is actually going to be quite freed up. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles when I cut the deck. I was going to say freed up. I was like, to pursue what? To keep going on the path you've invested on. I feel like there isn't going to be this lack of clarity, or there isn't going to be this temptation of the past, because there's this recognition that the past is truly the past, right? There's no more waiting around for it. The Fool reversed, yeah, that's not the way you're going to go. The way that you're on right now, whether it was intentional or not, is actually the better path for you, and you like what you're doing now more than what you were doing then. So anything that comes forward is to bring you a sense of clarity, and to also bring you a rebalancing of energy. So if somebody comes through and has an apology, this is meant to help rebalance the energy, but this is all meant to help you be able to move forward much more confidently. So I think that's just about everything I have for you guys today. I hope this has been helpful. I am wishing you a safe, happy, healthy full moon. It's going to be a spicy one. But yeah, thanks so much for being here. And I hope I get the chance to read for you again real soon. Take care. Bye.